Good evening, everybody. It's lovely to be back after my week off last week as I was away on holiday. And as we're now approaching the end of September, and I realise that September is Healthy Aging Month, I thought this would be a really good time to review the nutrients that are going to help to keep us healthy as we move into older age of life. And it's never too soon, too early to start thinking about the sorts of foods we should be eating, the nutrients that we need to keep us healthy as we age. Now, I looked at some research, which is really important, and some statistics, which is quite interesting. So 50% of over 65s have at least one long-term medical condition that's been diagnosed, at least one. And as a consequence of that, 10% of over 65s are taking at least 8 different medications, 8. And this increases to 25% of over 85s. Now, of course, as we're getting older, you know, there may be a need to be taking more things, but to be taking over 8 different medications. And I know there's another issue with polypharmacy and taking too many things, and they all have side effects and different interactions. But fundamentally, beneath all of that is, you know, what is driving these health conditions, what's driving the ill health. There's no reason why we shouldn't be living healthy. And when people have studied what they call the blue zones, where people are living very healthily to be 100, not only are they looking at the social side of things, but they're looking at what they're eating and the nutrients they're getting from their food. So I had a look at this. And just another piece of research is that whilst the average age in the UK, it sounds fantastic. We're living longer, you know, we're living into the 80s. Women are living longer than men. We're living into the 80s. That's brilliant. But the King's Fund, that carry out some really important research, found that the healthy life expectancy, those living in good health, so when we take into consideration, you know, health conditions, so those living in good health, healthy life expectancy is just 63. So in fact, most people are spending the final 20 years of their life or more in poor health or suboptimal health. And I'm on a mission really, because I don't think that should be the case at all. So let me crack on and go through what I think are the top 10 nutrients that we all need to be having. It doesn't matter if we're men or women, these are important for all of us. So top of my list is the omega-3 essential fats called EPA and DHA. And these are the ones we find in oily fish, the salmon, the mackerel, the sardines, the anchovies, the herrings, the fish that we don't eat enough of. And we need to be eating about 3 portions a week to be getting sufficient quantities of these important fats called EPA, DHA. It's no good just looking for a supplement with omega-3. Omega-3 has to be converted to EPA, DHA, and the conversion's very poor. And why is it that these fats are important? Well, they're anti-inflammatory. So they send out messengers telling the body to be not inflamed. And when we think of most health conditions, most of them have an itis at the end of it, i.e. most of our conditions as we age are linked to inflammation going on in the body. So I put this right at the top. We don't get enough of these oily fish in our diet. We need to think about supplementing. And when we look at a supplement, we ought to be looking at 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA, DHA. They're also fundamentally important for our brains. Our brain is made up of about 60% of these fats, important for the structure of the brain and the function of the brain. So they have a very important role in helping the prevention of dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. So really important. Also important for helping to prevent cardiovascular disease, keeping cholesterol levels in the right ratios. So really, really important. Second on my list is vitamin D3. And I'm sort of starting here with those I think we need to supplement. It's not because we need to supplement, it's just that these are very important, and often we need to supplement to get the right levels in the body. Now, D3 we get from the absorption of the sun on direct contact of our skin without suntan lotion. And those of us living in the Northern Hemisphere, which we do in the UK, we do not get sufficient levels of sunshine. You only have to look outside today and it's grey and it's wet. And even when the sun does shine, particularly through the winter months, when the sun is very low in the sky, we just don't get enough exposure to vitamin D. Often it's not warm enough, we're covered up, only our faces might be exposed, and we're told we should wear suntan lotion all year round to protect our skin. So this is why it's important to supplement. And when it comes to vitamin D, we need to be using about 1,000 IU D3 all year round. Now, vitamin D is really important for our immune system. It has a really fundamental role in supporting and keeping our immune system strong. And vitamin D is also very important in the prevention of osteoporosis because it helps the uptake of calcium from the gut and into the bloodstream. It has many other roles as well, but those are two very, very important roles as we move into older age. So do make sure you're getting sufficient intake of that. Third on my list is magnesium. Now, I love magnesium at every age. Not just I love to supplement it, it's really important to think about your food sources of magnesium. Dark green leafy vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains. We only get this mineral magnesium when we eat the whole grain. As soon as we have the refined, it's stripped away from the husk, and so we don't get it. So we need to have whole grains, nuts, seeds, dark green leafy vegetables, avocados, pulses as well. Now, why is magnesium so important and why I love it and rave about it so much is it's because it's involved in over 300 body processes. It's just involved everywhere in the body, keeping us healthy. It's important for muscle contraction and relaxation. So any sense of cramping in the body or asthma or constipation, headaches, things like that, I always think of magnesium. It's always my go-to. It's important for a healthy nervous system, helps to keep strong bones. So we overlook magnesium when we're thinking about bones. It's always calcium, calcium, calcium. Well, no, it's not just about calcium. It may be that we need calcium in far greater quantities than magnesium, but without the magnesium, we cannot get the calcium into the bones. So don't just think about dairy because you're just getting an overload of calcium without the balance of the magnesium as well. It's really important for energy production throughout the body. So as we get older and we think our energy levels aren't as good, we need to be thinking about magnesium as well. And it's known as nature's tranquilizer. So, you know, we may be finding ourselves to be a little bit more anxious as we're getting older, and it can really help to lower levels of anxiety and keep us much calmer. Helps with sleep at nighttime as well. It helps with the conversion through to melatonin at nighttime. So it has many, many roles, as I said. Make sure you're getting sufficient levels of magnesium in your diet. Fourth on my list is curcumin. This is the active component and ingredient from turmeric. So great to eat turmeric and use the spice in your cooking. We love turmeric, we love curries in our household. You know, when you're cooking with the spices, use it liberally. Cook in olive oil or coconut oil. We need the fats. It's very, very hard to absorb curcumin from the gut and into the bloodstream, and it's much better absorbed with fat and with black pepper as well. But I think fat is the most important thing here. It's really important as another anti-inflammatory component. Lots of research around its anti-inflammatory properties. When we think of certain painkillers, they block the inflammatory pathway in the body, but they also block the anti-inflammatory in the pathway. And what we know with curcumin is it keeps that anti-inflammatory pathway open. It's really important for that. It's also got a lot of research for inflammatory bowel disease, which is on the increase as we get older too. So for all inflammatory conditions, it's so helpful. Lots of people are finding it useful, but do make sure you choose a source that's a fat-soluble curcumin one too. The other benefits that have been found with curcumin or curcumin, however you like to say it, is its anti-tumor formation. So lots of research with its links to cancer, that may help in preventing tumours being formed. I'm not trying to make claims around cancer, but then there are research studies to show it can be helpful there as well. So anything that's anti-inflammatory for arthritis, lots of people find it very, very helpful for joints. Really good one to be including in your diet. Fifth on my list is vitamin C. It's a master antioxidant. It helps protect the cells from free radical damage, and so therefore it has a very important anti-aging properties. Vitamin C is also really important in collagen production. Now, of course, we all want to keep our skin plump and help prevent in the formation of wrinkles as we get older, but it goes way beyond that collagen. So it's really important in strong bones. Collagen production is important for tendons and ligaments, all the connective tissues in the body. What else to say about vitamin C? Oh yes, wound healing, really important role in wound healing and for the immune system. Yes, vitamin C and viral infections. It's my go-to at the first sign of a cold. I'll really load up on vitamin C at the first sign of a cold. Should take it throughout winter, I believe, vitamin C. And we find vitamin C, we always think of oranges, but it's not our best source. Red peppers and green peppers, kiwi fruits, dark green leafy vegetables, and all citrus fruits are the best sources to have. Number 6 on my list is zinc. Now for men, zinc is really important for healthy prostate and the prevention of prostate diseases. A lot of men get benign prostatic hyperplasia that doesn't always go on to prostate cancer, but I know it's a major concern for men. And zinc levels, we don't tend to get enough zinc in our diet. Alcohol depletes zinc levels, so that's important for men. But for women and for men, it's another critical and important nutrient for the immune system. And like magnesium, it's involved in 300 enzyme processes throughout the body, from energy metabolism to nerve function and to digestion. We cannot make sufficient stomach acid if we don't have enough zinc. So be aware of zinc intake in your diet. The best sources are red meats and organ meats and shellfish, but we also get it in eggs and legumes, in nuts and in seeds. Number 7 on my list, I've particularly picked out the vitamin B12 here. Now, if you're vegan and vegetarian, your intake is most likely to be deficient because we mostly get this from our animal products. But B12, a bit like zinc, actually, I just mentioned we need zinc actually to make stomach acid, and actually minerals cannot be effectively absorbed without sufficient levels of stomach acid. And the same for B12. We need good levels of stomach acid to absorb B12, and many of us don't have enough levels of stomach acid. So do make sure you're eating mindfully and chewing your food well, because that can help the production of stomach acid. Now, B12 is really, really important for nourishing the brain and the nervous system, and it's really important in red blood cell production as well. So that's why it has a link for anemia and for low energy. And I also found it's very important in the prevention of macular degeneration, which is prevalent as we get older. So do be sure to get good intakes of vitamin B12 into your diet from your animal products. Now, the next one on my list is the B vitamins in general. If people supplement B vitamins, I always say to take them as a B complex, because these B vitamins work synergistically together. There are lots of different types of B vitamins. We find these in our meats, in our fish, our legumes, our whole grains, our dark green leafy vegetables, and our eggs. And make sure you're eating different types of these foods. I'm a great believer in everything in moderation and having as much diversity in the diet, because this way we're going to ensure we get a good intake of all these different nutrients for our health. Now, B vitamins also have a crucial role in energy production, in DNA repair, so keeping our cells healthy, in the immune function, and in brain health. They're very important for our mood and helping to prevent against dementia. It also helps to lower a substance called homocysteine. It might not be something you've heard of, but I actually get clients to test this sometimes, particularly for those clients that are very concerned about cardiovascular disease, if there's a risk in the family, and Alzheimer's. If you look up homocysteine, you'll look at research around high levels of homocysteine and its links to cardiovascular disease and dementia and Alzheimer type disease as well. So get this wide range of nutrients into your diet from these foods I just mentioned. Number 9 on my list is something called coenzyme Q10. Coenzyme Q10 is very important for energy production, and it's a very, very important antioxidant. You might not have heard of it. It's not particularly well known, but it's found in really large quantities, or it's needed in very large quantities for the heart muscles, helps to keep the heart pumping well, and that's because it's needed in the mitochondria. The mitochondria, these little powerhouses in all our cells that provide energy throughout the body. This is what provides our energy throughout the entire body, and the heart muscle cells in particular have massive amounts of these mitochondria, which is why we need so much CoQ10 for the heart. But you may not know this, but if you're on statins not only lower cholesterol, but they lower levels of CoQ10 as well. That's a fact. But those who take statins are not told to supplement CoQ10. And if I find clients are on statins, it's one of the first things I'll say to them is that you really need to be supplementing CoQ10, because you're going to be depleting levels of it by taking statins alongside it. It's found in abundance in organ meats, and it's the sorts of things we don't eat that much of. You'll find it in other meats, you'll find it in oily fish like the salmon and the mackerel and the sardines, and in whole grains as well. But we know, again, it's a really important nutrient. The final one on my list isn't a nutrient as such, but it's just a reminder really. We need to be getting really good levels of fibre in our diet, soluble fibre, insoluble fibre. Resistant starch is another type of fibre that's been identified in more recent years. We get this, of course, from our vegetables, from our whole grains, from our legumes. We just don't eat enough fibre. Why do we need it? Of course, it helps with the bowel, it helps with elimination, it helps to keep good regular bowel movements, it keeps the stools soft and consistent, helps the removal of toxins from the body. This elimination and clearing out toxins is so important, otherwise toxins get reabsorbed back into the bloodstream, they go round through the liver, and just isn't helping the body cleanse itself properly. And we know, of course, as we get older, and I mentioned this earlier, about bowel diseases on the increase as we get older. So this is linked to low levels of fibre. We need to keep our fibre levels up to keep bowel disease and cancer at bay. So make sure you're eating a really diverse range of vegetables. Of course, you're getting antioxidants, you're getting all these nutrients that I've just been talking about anyway. Some whole grains, some brown rice. Do eat some pulses. It's important to be eating pulses and more vegetarian dishes alongside, if you want to, some meat and fish as well. So I think that in a nutshell is a bit of a whirlwind tour of my top 10 nutrients for healthy aging, and I hope you found that really useful. Remember, all of my posts are these lives are converted into videos that are on my YouTube channel, Peyton Principles Natural Health. They're converted into a podcast that goes onto my website, and I do write a blog based on this information that also goes onto my website as well. Thanks so much for listening. Do invite other people to join my Facebook group if you find these posts of use to you. And I look forward to catching up with you next week. Have a lovely week. Hope we get some sunshine for the rest of the week. Take care, everyone. Bye.